B-A-T. It's in the name.
This episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast with Ben and Travis is brought to you by the Always Endure Slawburger Chase 5K and 10K on Saturday, April 15th, starting at the Bank of Lincoln County in Fayetteville, Tennessee at 8 a.m. By registering, you are supporting the mission of Always Endure to remove financial barriers for adoptive families, barriers to care for patients enduring major medical diagnosis, and barriers to placement for children in foster care. You can register at alwaysendure.com by clicking on the Events tab at the top of the page.
This is your Friday Refresh and your Helping Healing Humor mesh up right here.
Thought we might come together and do a little quick for the Helping Healing Humor and a little longer for the Friday Refresh as we go into Easter weekend, which we as Christians will be celebrating in different ways and in different locations. But we thought that we would give you a little bit more this week, headed into a big weekend, talk a little bit about Easter.
I'm going to be in Nashville starting on Thursday, I believe. We'll be there. So when this airs, I'll already be in Nashville, and I will probably be back sometime Saturday night or Sunday morning to preach at the Highland Park, because I just love being there on that day. It's a big day. It's a good day. Lots of course, we always talk about lots of visitors on Easter, a lot of families. Everybody's got their new suits and dresses and all that kind of stuff on. So it'll be a good one. And so lads will be awesome, but always good to get back to the home congregation for the Easter Sunday.
That'll be the same for me. I'll be back at Highland Park, probably going to go up to lads, see the kids, and then make our way back for Sunday worship. Just kind of the same thing. I spent my entire childhood. Easter was in Opryland Hotel. And now that I've gotten into ministry, it's kind of like I'll be back at the home congregation for Sunday morning. Just same reasons Ben said, spend time with family, friends, just a special day of worship. Every year, every first day is a great day of worship. Easter is always kind of one of those special days. So I'll be back there.
Yeah, we will be in Fayetteville. I'll be preaching at Riverside that Sunday morning. We're going to do, as of right now, we'll have the plan to do an intergen like Sunday class where kind of the kids rotate to different setups, different booths with different parts about Easter. And then, of course, we'll have our worship service, and there'll be some special things going on to commemorate, obviously, the day the revolution began, the spiritual revolution, when Jesus rose from the dead. And so I guess for just a few minutes, we'll talk about what it means to us. We could do this for probably a couple of hours and still not cover maybe some days and not cover what it means to us. But something I'm thinking about this year is that idea of the revolution, the scandalous nature of going around and telling people about a resurrected Messiah. Like that in the first century makes no sense, right? A dead Messiah, that's the end of the party. It's over, it's done. And that's why even the disciples were like, no, that's not the plan. That's not how that's supposed to go. And so he's resurrected. And then the first witnesses, the first people to tell the good news of the resurrection are these women, right? And in the first century, women were not considered great witnesses. And so for the Bible to choose them from the get-go, this has just been a topsy-turvy. And as Acts says, they turn the world upside down. And it's certainly been that way ever since. And this Jesus, this Messiah who raised from the dead, who proves that he's still rolling stones. And I'm here for it.
Yeah, I was getting some stuff together for, we've been doing a series on the story of the Old Testament, and we're wrapping up this quarter. And so weirdly enough, the last two books I'm covering, or the last three books, are Job and 1st and 2nd Chronicles. 1st, 2nd Chronicles, probably one of the later books written sort of about all of the kings and all of that stuff. And Job considered to be one of the earlier books. At least the story takes place early on. And so when I was reading that, it was talking about the suffering of Job and how Job claimed his innocence, and how there was a lot of struggle with the sufferings that people face in the world. And one of the things I like to do with every one of the books is, how does this point to Jesus? What's the point of it for us as Christians reading these? And one of the things that I was reading said that a lot of people throughout history have read Job during the Passion Week, which is, the week of Easter, that Easter is celebrated, the week leading up to the death, burial, resurrection of Jesus. And a lot of people read it that week because of that suffering, and that Jesus really, even though Job claimed innocence and seemed to be innocent in some of the things they were, saying about him, really the only innocent sufferer that has ever suffered in innocence is Jesus. In that was an adult, I should say, in that way. And so here's Jesus who took on all of this pain and all the suffering of the world for us. And so it's kind of a book that a lot of people read. So maybe if you're listening as you're getting ready the last couple of days before you come together and worship and celebrate the resurrection of Jesus on Sunday, as Will said we do each time. Maybe this is the weekend you read the book of Job. Might want to buckle down if you're going to read the whole thing over the weekend, but something for you to kind of focus on and read about, because that, from the beginning, people have struggled with, why do we suffer? Why do the innocent suffer? Why do we deal with some of the things that we're dealing with? And Job attempts to answer it. Ultimately, Jesus is the answer of it. So, that's kind of what we'll be thinking about.
So Easter for me, over the years has definitely changed from all the fun, getting presents, all those things that mom and dad and the Easter Bunny always did for us. But the thing that sticks out to me a lot about this day is the unity of our world. And I understand that we celebrate Jesus every single week and hopefully every single day of our lives. But we come to this day and the whole world thinks about it. And the majority of the world is thinking about Jesus. And I've been studying Acts with our middle schoolers at Mars Hill. And the one thing that I see throughout the book of Acts is just the unity of the followers of Jesus, and how they continue doing so much together. And it's like, we take Easter, and for me, it's beautiful because you have so many people coming together under one bond and one goal. And I think days like this really teach us maybe what the church and what Christians are supposed to look like, if I can say that. Just because you see it on the forefront of everyone's minds. And that's just something that I really love about the day and about us celebrating Jesus, is the world is really taking a look at who Jesus is. And it just brings a lot of joy to my life, a lot of happiness to know that at least for a day or a week or a month, he's the most popular thing that everybody's thinking of. And I just find a lot of excitement in that and a lot of joy in that. And it encourages me and keeps me going a lot this time of year.
Well, I will say this. It's pretty neat to think about all these authorities that lined up. And, Jesus basically says, Pilate, you wouldn't have me unless this was a part of the plan. I'm allowing this to happen. Mm-hmm. And so you got the Jews who bring him from crucifixion, the Romans who carried out, and Satan who thought that he had killed this plot, this plan, and they all get dunked on. So, it's like the tomb is empty, and the Romans couldn't keep him in there. The Jews don't know where he's at, but the devil certainly does.
Colossians 2:15, led him down the street. They think they're leading him down the streets in shame, and he's actually marching them through the streets in victory. It's such like a turn of events. I love it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So for this Friday, and to you, we certainly hope that this is a tremendously awesome and good Friday. This episode is brought to you by Greg Howell at Howell Wealth Management, Northwestern Mutual. And Ben, why don't you go ahead and hit that line that you end these with, because only you can deliver it.
And that is your Friday refresh.
Thanks
Thanks for being with us for this episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast. Be sure to download our free ebook, 28 Days of Focused Living, at benandtravis.com and receive all of our Helping Healing and Humor extra content directly in your inbox. We look forward to having you join us at the same Ben and Travis time, same Ben and Travis channel.